Howdy, y'all. Welcome to the Registered Ranching Podcast, where cows, humor, and a little bit of cowboy wisdom collide. I'm Tucker Brown, sharing stories from the ranch and a TikTok every now and then. We're here to keep the ranch in the family and the family in the ranch. So, let's saddle up. Saddled up for episode number 72. Welcome back to the Registered Ranching Podcast. And to my delight today, and to yours, we have some guests from two different states that have traveled all over the country, working together, and have a very well listened to podcast themselves. Do you have a nickname for what are the the Discos?
The Discos.
The Discos.
The Discos have made it to Thornbrook. Is that Thorn?
No.
Thorn?
That
Keep
is
trying.
not
Thorn
right.
something.
I'm going to leave you there. I'm going to
Thork Morton?
Thork Morton. We made it to Texas. The Discos have made it to Texas.
We made it to Texas.
That's what I should have started with.
Throckmorton.
Throckmorton, there it is.
Throckmorton,
I was
I
gonna
got
let
it.
you
I
sit in
just
it.
needed like one more minute.
Throckmorton. No, that is
Throckmorton.
great. Yeah, so, I want to do, I need to get, hang on, let me get my music. I got to give you an introduction anyway.
I was going to say, to my left here, we were coming in to record a podcast, but I was not prepared for the DJ session. I was also signing up to witness. It was, you guys, it was
the
beautiful.
DJ.
Yeah, the intro was like, I was ready to get up and dance, have fun.
Yeah, that's what, and you're about to get what would be 3 words you would describe yourself, Natalie?
Oh, describe myself?
Yep,
I'm
3
glad he
words.
asked you first.
Oh, Lordy. I don't know.
A mom, a rancher,
Oh, those kind of words.
a discoer,
Sure.
a podcaster.
You know me so well.
Yeah, a mom.
I was like, fun.
I know, me too.
Life
I
of
was
the party.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like kind of loud, but quiet when I need.
Intelligent, but
Witty.
So I've been told. So we've been told.
Husband calls me
Stunning.
pretty, I don't know.
A few people in my life, like my mom, my husband, said I'm pretty.
But no, yes, a mom, rancher, and I would say adventurer. Like the
Adventurer.
TV series would be a good third adjective.
I still are yours, but I will exchange rancher for dairy farmer.
There you go.
So then it would be perfect for this intro. Ladies and gentlemen, from Nebraska, the mom, the podcaster, the adventurer, and a rancher, Natalie Kavorik. And all the way from New Mexico. From just one state away, she's seen a dairy cow or two. The dairy woman herself, the podcaster, the mom, kind of fun sometimes. Tara Vanderdusen.
Wow, you're really good at
Was
that.
that-
Yeah, Tara, you're fired. I found my new co-host, actually.
I know. I was like thinking whenever
you're out.
you were running that thing, like I always joke I'm like the tech behind. I don't have anything that looks like that. I don't have anything
yeah.
that looks like this. We don't have music. Like no.
I need all the help I can get. Is the deal. That's the
You're
that's
hired.
the thing. You're hired.
Tucker.
He's like I wasn't looking for a new job.
Got it.
But y'all do Discover Ag Podcast. Is just a piece of what y'all do. But Discover Ag Podcast has taken y'all a lot of places. I remember being in Vegas and seeing y'all on a truck going across, and I was like, whoa, I'm going to do that someday.
That was a fun little, we used it to unroll new branding for the podcast, and that was a fun little marketing
Yeah, of
that we
course.
did. Yeah, we rolled it out during NFR. Seemed like a very fitting place with a lot of our community, agriculture, cowboys, cowgirls, just small town people. And yeah, it was quite fun. We chased our faces down the Vegas Strip, which is not something I thought would ever be a part of my vocabulary, but here we are.
We sat in an outdoor bar having a few drinks, waiting for, you just didn't know when it was going to go by. They told us it would go by every so many hours. So we are just waiting, twiddling our thumbs. And then when we see it, we start running. I'm not a great runner. I have a sister-in-law that owns a gym, and on the reel we created, she was like, it is embarrassing that I own a gym and that I am related to you. And I was like, well, you get what you get,
Like Pirates of the Caribbean, how that guy runs. That's how
Oh,
he
with the
runs.
hands out. With the hands out.
Okay. I don't think I was that bad, but maybe I could.
Well, now you just have to accept it.
I,
Yeah.
of
It
course,
goes.
look like a natural track athlete running down
Of
the
course.
side of the Yeah, absolutely.
course.
Yeah.
I
But
got
yeah.
to know, or I guess I met y'all at the NFR, I think, for the first time.
Yep.
And then got to spend a little bit of time with you, Natalie, in
DC.
DC,
Yeah, that was fun.
which was really fun. Natalie is hard to find, even with location on.
It's funny you bring this up. So I like to track people in my life's location.
Yeah.
And so when I asked for Natalie's location, she had never heard of like tracking people's location.
I have heard of it. It's not a part of our
Culture?
lifestyle. Our culture is to track, share. We just don't do that. I've never looked up someone's location.
Yeah, and so it made me really uncomfortable. Recently, we finally gotten to the point in our relationship where she has allowed me to track her location.
Yeah, no, you and I did struggle to find each other. We were at different monuments we thought were the same ones. I mean, I shouldn't elaborate too much because it's not going to put our intelligence probably in the best light. So, but we eventually did find each other, and we got to frolic around DC, and it was good. It was fun.
I think I've heard the word frolic more times
More
today,
times today than I've ever heard.
than I've heard it in a long time.
I am a mom, a rancher, and a frolicker.
A frolicker. Well, it's really cool what y'all do, and I feel like y'all would be one of the leading ag podcasts, educators in our industry.
No, thank you.
Well, yeah, thank you. Can you tell? We should tell that to our sponsors, our advertisers. I like that.
Yeah. Well, I think
Tucker
y'all
Brown
are.
said.
Yeah. Well, we're very passionate about the podcast. I mean, we obviously started individually sharing online and came together under kind of the umbrella of Discover. And I don't know, something works about it. We just love to share about the industry through our millennial female kind of take. I think obviously agriculture is a male-dominated industry, and there's so many powerful women who are part of it. And so it feels good to us and aligned, and it's important to us to kind of use our voices to highlight that. Our industry from a female perspective. So we love to yap, we love to chat, and especially about agriculture. So yeah, the podcast it's our little baby.
Yeah, and I think for us, the podcast, has always been like the forward-facing part of our brand and like what we do. But always in the back of our mind was like the TV portion of Discover Ag on the Road, which is why we're here in Throckmorton.
Yeah.
Getting closer. Okay,
Nice.
That is why we're here, is because we are filming with you today, and we have now, as you said, gone across the country. We've been in California all the way to Florida, filming different episodes of Discover Ag on the Road.
Wow.
And so it's fun to finally bring that to like fruition, because it has been, in the back of our minds for so long.
We got to frolic in Florida.
Yep. Frolicked all the way
That
from
sounds fun.
California, frolicked all the way to Florida.
That does sound fun. I watched one of them you did with Avocado Farm,
Oh, yeah.
and that was, I didn't know anything about farming avocados.
It's so interesting. I think growing up in agriculture, everyone outside of it assumes that because you farm, you just know everything about every industry. Like when we
Right.
guest on other podcasts, maybe it was hosted by a dietitian, or it's someone adjacent to the food industry that cares about the food industry, so they have us on to have those conversations. But the things they'll ask, I'll be like, I don't know. I raise beef cattle. Like I have literally no idea, what you're asking me. And so
Yeah.
to your point, like, yes, both of us were born and raised in agriculture, brought up around it. I mean, Tara, obviously in the dairy industry, myself in ranching, but everything we go out and explore and discover is, yes, part of, the industry we belong to, but so foreign to us. And so it's really fun to go out and, we're learning right alongside our viewers, and we're having fun with them too. So it's really fun to be able to get out and just for ourselves to be able to discover agriculture, let alone, everyone else we're bringing along with us.
That's so cool. Whenever I did starting the podcast, I was like, I want to do them in person selfishly so I can get a little bit of that. Like be able to discover the people that are in the industry. Hard to get people to come to Throckmorton, as you might say. But
Well, what help if they knew where? Maybe you're not telling them the correct place.
yeah, hard to get people to come to Throckmorton all the time. But that has been a really cool part of it for me too. Like since you said that, I was like, oh, that's very true in myself.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think, like, to Natalie's point, I even think something we realized and we discovered when we became, like, partners on this adventure is how little we even knew about, like, I knew very little about cattle ranching, the beef industry. You knew very little about dairy. Like, it's just crazy, like, even within cattle, how little you can know and, like, understand the other sectors of agriculture. And there's just so many stories to tell.
Yeah, so true. And then I always appreciate the way that y'all do it in a way that is our consumers can understand and be entertained. Because ag has tried in the past 15 years to do some advertising and entertainment, but it's more like beef cows are raised on grass. Grass is then turned into beef, which is full of vitamin B, vitamin. And it's just
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
nobody's listening to that. But doing it in a way that people can be entertained by it, it can be in front of people. How cool is that? Like, y'all were able to do that in a way that people want to listen.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's the goal. And I think
Yeah.
every episode we get a little bit better
Better
at
at
it, hopefully, because, yeah, I mean, no one wants to be preached at. And there's a lot of things that we all don't. I mean, there's a lot of things I don't know about the way the world runs and, different industries of what they're doing to be able to, provide for the rest of the nation. And if I wanted to be interested in learn about that, I wouldn't want to do it in a boring capacity. So I think that is obviously at the heart of what we want to do is this kind of like education but entertainment meld together so that you are, after you consume some of our content, you are leaving not brain dead. You didn't brain rot as you scrolled our
Yeah.
content, like you leave with a little bit of information, but it was consumed in a way that you almost didn't realize. It is impossible for me to go a podcast interview without mentioning the name Mike Rowe. So here we are.
Here it is.
We've
Here's the
arrived
ding,
to the
ding,
big
ding,
moment.
ding.
But I always think about what he did for Dirty Jobs and how he was able to
Yeah.
host, blue collar content about jobs that no one even thought of. No one maybe even had interest to learn about, but every single week, every single episode, people would sit down and they would consume and they would leave thinking, wow, I had no idea that's what it took, or that's really cool, or I've never thought about that. And so he's always been kind of my role model in that capacity of like bringing awareness to obviously an industry you're super passionate about and doing it in a way that makes people feel very connected but also informed.
Oh, good stuff. What do you think people misassume about y'all because you would be ag influencers, quote unquote?
Oh gosh, I don't know. What's the biggest thing that people misassume about us?
I don't know.
I feel like this is the time that one time we got asked like we got rapid fire questions and my brain was just like brain rot as you say, and I was like, I have no answers. I would say probably like that they like underestimate us a lot of times. I think sometimes of like what we like know or don't know, and we bring. I don't know. I like to think we bring a lot of spice to the conversations. Yeah.
I don't have an answer.
You don't have an
You
answer.
don't have an answer.
All right. Well, thanks for that.
Pass.
Sometimes I feel it at like the ag influencer side of people being like, well, you're not actually a real rancher
Yeah.
if you do that.
Yeah,
I didn't know if that was
interesting.
something y'all felt either.
I feel like I've had a little bit of imposter syndrome in that myself just because I am not, like if I put on my social media like, oh, dairy farmer, like I'm not the one out milking the cows. That's never, like even when I was more actively involved in our farm, I got my degree in environmental science. So I actually joke I was on the back end of the dairy, and that's where I did, like I was lagoon management, permitting, all of that. And I definitely think what's interesting, my husband has never cared. He's always like, you think about it too much. It really doesn't matter. And he's like, for the people it does matter to, like, I feel like I would get criticism from within the industry. He's like, that's
Yeah.
not who you're trying to talk to anyway.
Yeah, great point.
And so he's like, and for consumers, your role is plenty involved for you to be able to list yourself as a dairy farmer. So like, why, like, what does it matter? And I feel like I get very lost in the weeds in that conversation of like feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah, this might come off a little brash, but I guess I've just never like cared too much to dive into that of people's perception of me. I would like to think I've done all of my content, from day one of sharing online to now, very authentic to myself, so that there is no confusion, around my role on the operation or what my husband are building or what our ranch looks like. I've obviously like ebbed and flowed in what I've shared. So, sometimes I'm sharing more about being like a mother and stuff than I am like quote unquote my job as a rancher or ranch wife. And so I don't know. I think I've just never really thought too much about like, do people really believe, how hardcore of a rancher am I? Like, where would they stack me up against, another female rancher more or less? And yeah, it's just not something I've like dwelled on too much.
I second that. I feel like you do a really good job. I think you do a really good job of being authentic, and I think you do a really good job of not caring like what people's perception are and just like showing up. I think that is like not like that is a trait that's admirable, because I think it's really easy to get like very much wrapped up in that.
Yeah, because I'll play host now and ask you a question.
Ooh.
Because I feel like, what's population of Throckmorton?
727.
Okay, so I I am living now. When I married my husband, I grew up in Montana, but now our ranch is in Nebraska. So when I relocated, we're outside of a town of about 2,000, so like twice your size, but like fairly small, fairly rural. Like people know people, and I get asked a lot, about like creating content in a small town where everyone knows you, like if it's awkward, what you think about that. And again, I was like, oh, I don't know, I've just like never thought too much about like what people in town are thinking about the content create. But like, I would be curious your perspective of that as well, because it to the point of like kind of tuning out the noise or not thinking about too much. Like when someone brought it up to me, I was like, oh gosh, I wonder what people do think about me creating content. And then I was kind of in my own head, like it's not for the faint of heart to like
No.
put everything out there online, especially
No.
coming from a very small town too.
Yeah, great point. Well, when I went to go get water earlier, the lady was like, "Got a podcast today?"
Oh.
That is
I was like, "Yeah, I do." Well, I thought this video you did was funny, and so it kind of got to the point where at first people would be like, "I saw that video you did. Are you trying to do like an influencer thing?"
Yeah.
And they were more questioning like why I was doing it. Then it started to work, and then they kind of got quiet. And now they're to the point where like, I saw you went to D.C.
Yeah.
Are you going to get President Trump here? And now it's like they're on my team almost.
Yeah.
That's the way I've felt.
I think that is a good journey. I would agree with that journey. I think in the beginning, it's really awkward because you are just talking like your friends and family, and there's that awkward phase.
Yeah.
And then it starts doing something, and you do something cool or something big, and then people are like, okay, I get it. And like, it does like change people's minds about it.
Well, and now I feel like it's much more, I don't want to say
Common.
like accepted, but yeah, common. Like a lot of more
yeah.
people are sharing for different reasons. You know, like real estate agents are sharing about to sell houses now. You know, and back then it was like just quote unquote fluent influencers to share a product. And so anyone who was trying to use social media to leverage it in a different way for a different product, whether it was storytelling about agriculture or a brand within agriculture, like it just felt different. And now it's, I guess, like more recognized or common,
Yeah,
which
great point.
obviously helps with the awkwardness you can feel.
Yes. Yes. What is it on like that made, I mean, y'all started separately. Like what made you start sharing?
Yeah, so we were in like a group chat. I always say that we slid into each other's DMs.
Wait,
so,
do you mean originally individually, or do you mean what made us come
what
together?
made us come together?
Yes.
Both.
Yeah.
Do you want to start with our individual, and then I'll jump in with our already started? You want to start with how we came together?
Yeah,
It's
sure.
kind of in reverse. Anyway, we slid into each other's DMs. Classic millennial friendship.
Nice.
And just were friends online when we were both sharing and just kind of like exchanging ideas, like what's working, how are you getting engagement, how
Because
are
it
you like?
was a time when it wasn't.
No, yeah, there was like not a lot
Yeah.
of people to ask.
So anyone you could get to help, like this is how much I charge for a brand, or this is how I'm growing, or
Yeah.
like this is what I'm doing. You were like, oh, thank goodness, because I have literally no
Someone
one
to
in my
talk to.
circle to like talk about
to.
this. Yeah.
And then we ended up in 2021 meeting in person. Natalie was hosting actually just down the road from here. Natalie hosted women's retreats for like rural women that were like entrepreneurs. And I went to her very first one. And we both just like left. It's funny, we like had conversations with our husbands that were very similar. That was very much like, wow, I was really inspired. Like I want to like do more with her. And by the end of that year, we had started our business together.
Wow.
Yeah, and I had quit my job. So it was, my husband was like, you met a stranger
You jumped
on the
in.
internet, quit your job, and you're now starting a new business.
Dan's like, you weren't even that sure about me when you married me. You're like, this is the best, most sure feeling in relationship I
Ever
have.
had.
This is the most secure one for sure.
Yeah, and I really feel like the rest is history. From there,
Yeah.
like very quickly, we started the podcast. We talked about the TV series from like almost like very early on. That was something that we were both very passionate about, and that was one of the things that made it easy. Is we really aligned on how we wanted to present agriculture, what we like saw for agriculture. Like it just, we had a ton of similarities and synergies.
Yeah, going back to like misconceptions or what people maybe are curious about us or whatever. I think that is one thing, is like, how good of friends are we? I think people are really curious. Like,
Yes.
wow, you guys do a lot together. Is it like awkward? Is it forced? You know, what is their like relationship like off
Big
camera?
questions there.
Yeah, and to Tara's point, it just felt like a friend I had known, like when I met her, it was just like I'd known her for a very long time. And also like something Tara talks a lot about when we first met, like sometimes for women, it can be challenging to find other women that are, especially when you're like rural. So it's not like you're picking from like a large, amount of women. And this is like not saying that there aren't, entrepreneurs in rural America, because there definitely is. I'm just saying it's like, it's not like you're in the thriving metropolis of like, DC or Chicago or something. But you talked a lot about how like sometimes it was hard to find women that were like, I guess just like into business, And so I think we connected off of that right away too, because we've always approached social media from like a business standpoint instead of just like fun use of the app. And so I think we just aligned like on a personal level, but also on that like professional level where it was like, oh, like you're very serious about that too, and like you're very passionate, and I don't know, it just like melded.
Yeah, and I think that we've both maybe been accused a few times of being a lot in our lifetime. And so
a deep trauma childhood wound right there. Too much.
We won't get into all of that, but you know, to take this too deep here. But I do feel like there was just so many things that was like, oh yeah. And so I do think people are very curious of our offline friendship.
Our children are currently playing together at your house.
Yeah, hopefully my husband's watching them.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Woo, you know what? We haven't checked in a few hours.
No news is good news.
So that was how y'all started working together,
Yep.
but separately.
Yeah.
Before that, like I would say a few years before that, we'd probably already been sharing online for like 3-ish years maybe before we like came together, would you say? It would have been a couple years that we were sharing individually before we came together. I started sharing on social because at the time I was deep, like I said, into environmental science and dairy farming, and wanted to share about what dairy was doing like to benefit the environment. Like I feel like there was a lot of misconceptions. Like this is going back like 10 years now when I first started sharing.
Dairy gets slammed.
Dairy gets slammed. We get slammed for a lot of things. And I just was like, the facts that are out there are not, or not the facts. The information out there is not facts. It's not true. And so I wanted to start sharing. Actually, this is going to date me. I started a blog. I don't know if you've
Tara
ever
did
heard
her
of those.
first logo on what, paint?
Paint. Natalie didn't know what paint was, but I made my first.
Well, look at Tucker's
He's very
face.
impressed.
No, I don't know if
Isn't
that's the
paint,
face of impression. That was shock. Actually, his heart
It was a
fluttered.
little
He
shock. It
skipped
was like,
a beat.
wow.
So
He's like, damn, girl, you old.
No, I had been talking about starting a blog for months and months, and we had a blizzard, not to like make a, light of a tragedy, but by the end of the day, like I had a post that I wrote just on my personal Facebook that went absolutely viral. I don't know if I've ever had a post go that viral again. And I was like, it's either now or never, like decide to do this blog. So I literally took that post, and my husband's out like working in the blizzard, and he's like, what have you been doing all day? I'm like, just at home.
Check this out.
Creating my website. And then I got asked to do a bunch of interviews off of that, and I don't know. Then it started rolling, and I very much was sharing heavy, though I wanted to be able to share like links to articles and like very science, I guess, focused was just my background. And then it evolved and changed, obviously, over the years.
Seized the opportunity. Carpe diemed it.
Carpe diemed it. Yes.
Yeah. I started sharing actually for direct-to-consumer beef business. So when I married my husband, by education, I'm a pharmacist. So before I married my husband, I was practicing as a full-time pharmacist. I was actually like living in town. I grew up on a ranch, but I was not living on the ranch. I wasn't, in agriculture for my job. I wasn't deriving income from it. I spent a lot of time on my family ranch just because I had 2 sisters on it that had come back to the operation. And again, I was like only living about a half an hour away from it. So it was very much a part of my life, but not from any standpoint that like agriculture is now. But when I married my husband, that all kind of changed because again, I moved to a very small rural town, and there just wasn't a pharmacist position open. And I could have commuted to like our next biggest city to practice pharmacy, but me and my husband were like, it would have been over an hour drive. So it would have been like commuting probably close to 3 hours every single day. And that was just not how we wanted to raise our family, And so we knew it wasn't going to be part of our story. So at that time, obviously people had been sharing direct-to-consumer beef for a very long time, but I just saw something with social media and thought, I think I can do that. Like I have that gene that's like, oh, how hard can it be? And it's actually really hard. All the things that I'm like, oh, how hard can it be? But I have that gene. And so I was like, oh, well, I think I could I'm not practicing right now as a pharmacist. I need to find something to do with my time. And to Tara's point, I was like, I'd rather be doing this than out helping my husband in the blizzard. So I think I'll start a direct-to-consumer beef business. And so I use social media as a tool to market the beef. And I actually kind of fell less in love with, selling a product of beef and more in love with like the storytelling and content creation around agriculture. And I think, a lot of things people can relate to in agriculture is like, when you grow up around it, you don't think about it in the way that other people do who aren't. And I guess I just didn't even realize some of the misconceptions and the way the questions they had in general, or just the way they viewed agriculture. So when I did start sharing online, it like opened up a whole new opportunity where I was like, wow, this is what people think. This is what people are asking. And I kind of like what Tara said, like just kind of leaned into it, decided it wasn't like a conscious decision. It was just kind of like the opportunity present itself and you just start creating content around it. And I just kind of found myself deciding to like step away from the beef business and kind of lean more into like the content creation influencer route instead.
As you said to me one time, you're like, I just didn't think that slinging beef lit me up.
Yeah.
Slinging beef.
I loved it. I'll like never forget that. You're like, that was not what I loved doing was creating the content, the idea behind it, like the fun, creative juices were flowing.
Are you still slinging beef?
No, I stepped away from that. I did it for about 2 years, and then when decided to step away from that and lean full time into like the content creation portion of it. Yeah.
Well, for the business, always seems like when that successful business comes up, there was like 5 years of not maybe failure, but of trying things that built up to that.
Yeah.
What would have that been for you? Like I learned 2 years ago that you used to do those like women retreats.
Yeah.
And before I was like, wow, I never
Yeah.
knew that.
They
It was
were
actually
really
with
cool.
a girl that had from Wisconsin. Wisconsin? Yeah, a girl from Wisconsin that had went to one of yours.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, I actually went to the retreat and
Hope
did
she had good
this.
things to
And
say. Yeah.
yeah, she loved it.
Yeah,
And
good. No, yeah, I think over 100 women when I was done. I ran it for about 2 years, and usually the retreat size, I like to keep it small, but obviously large enough that you could like make connections and I'd learn from each other. And so usually each retreat ended up being about 15 to 20 women, and I did it for 2 years, so I think like over 100 women in total came. And obviously that's how I met Tara. So to your point, I do think that. Again, social media is so cool, I always say, because if you're willing to say yes to an opportunity, you just have no idea what it will lead to. And like, I believe in that old age saying of like, hindsight, every step you took was taught you something. If you did it right, you learned something from it to equip you for like the next stage of your journey. And that's very much so how I feel about social media. Like I even think about, I used to do a little bit of speaking and I don't do much of it more now anymore, but I'm like, it equipped us so well to be hosts for the TV series. And I just think about how all these little different things we did, I might not still be doing them now, but to me, that is not, like, that doesn't mean I didn't do a good job, or that doesn't mean like I didn't succeed. Like, right, it wasn't a failure because we're no longer doing some of the things we did in our earlier ages of social media. It just means that like we evolved and grew, and we took those skills that we learned to funnel them to like what we're most passionate about now, and like how we want to use social media for the next 5 years of our life.
Yeah, I also think social media has evolved so much that until you said yes, like I think now it's much easier to like look at social media and be like, oh, I really like, I think I like this and this. Whereas I feel like at the time it was kind of like you dabbled in everything to see like what kind of stuck, what you liked, how you could actually make money. Like I remember the first time I asked Brand for money, like in exchange for a post, and they were like, don't you just like, I remember it was basically like, don't you just want to share about dairy farming out of the goodwill of your heart? And I was like, well, yeah, but like I'd also, it's my time, my energy, my, like I'm leaving my kids, like, and they were absolutely like blindsided. And I was like, other industries are sharing about, like, are doing this and making money. Like this is a business. To Natalie's point that I like very much viewed it as a business from early on. And so I just think that even has changed just so much.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is, I do, to one of your points earlier, I remember finding the first person that I could like talk, like, what do you charge?
Yeah.
I felt like I wasn't supposed to ask.
Yeah.
I was like, I
It's
need
super
to know,
awkward.
like, what do I do? But yeah, that was, I still get those kind of things like, well, we'll give you a hoodie and a cap.
Yeah. Thank you.
Farmers
No,
love
thank
free
you.
caps.
They do love their free caps. Yeah. Yeah. But it's like,
You're like,
thank you so much.
I
But
wear a cowboy hat
no.
actually.
Yeah. That's
You're like,
that's a fun
I'll
part
take
of
a
it.
New American. Cowboy hat.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, shout out American. Just started working with them.
Oh, nice.
Oh, awesome.
See, we do make really good co-hosts. Naturally, I led him into that ad.
We're in a really cute shop actually recording this, so I'll just be out browsing. Y'all finish the podcast.
Yeah, all right. Well, this leads me to one of my favorite segments, and it's the Ag Gear Hot Seat. Ag Gear is the shirts that I wear. They have jackets. They have a lot of things. Have some pants. I'm number one fan of their shirts. Wear them all the time. And if we're gonna ask some questions, and the seat might get a little hot.
Okay.
But if you wear an Ag Gear, it wouldn't be so hot. Use discount code Tucker Brown. That's all caps, no space online. Get a 15% discount. So, in the Ag Gear Hot Seat, do you have a hot take that you stand on the hill and die on for? Maybe not die on for, but a hill that you stand on that is a hot take.
Oh, I have mine.
Go ahead.
Okay. I feel like raw milk is just everything and everywhere right now. I feel like I never thought I would say the word raw milk. Similar to frolicking. Didn't know that was going to be so in my vernacular. But raw milk is just the number one question I feel like I get asked about. And my hot take is that, like, I feel like both sides are kind of wrong, actually. Like, I just feel like I'm a person who lets my kids like have oysters and raw seafood and like all sorts of things. And we don't let people like have raw milk. And so I'm like, that seems, I don't know, just counterintuitive. Like, I just don't know why we get to pick like one food. And then I feel like on the opposite side, I feel like the raw milk people are all like, it is a superfood. Pasteurized milk is like, you've killed it. And I think they're like wrong. I think they underestimate some of the risk. I think the anti-raw milk overestimate some of the risk. Like, I just think across the board, there is so much like fear mongering going on around milk and raw milk on both sides, and I'm just like really kind of over it. Like, I'm kind of like, I'm at the point that I feel like people are going to get raw milk one way or another if they want it, so why not figure out a way to like regulate it and make it safer, because there are real dangers of consuming raw milk. That's probably my biggest takeaway, is like, you do have to know what you're doing. Don't give it to like children. Don't consume it if you're pregnant or elderly, like all these other things. But I'm like, people are going to do it whether you allow them to or not. So why don't we find a better way? And then like, let's make like real information available about how to consume it safely, or like, and then for raw milk people, let's not slam pasteurized milk.
Sure. That's a good one.
I had so long to think of one, and I still don't have one.
Oh, I'm sorry. I tried to talk.
I know,
Kept
I was like,
going.
keep
Kept
going.
going.
No
kept
hot
going.
takes?
I don't think so. Well, I mean, we talk about this a lot on the podcast, actually, that unfortunately, in the world of today where social media, you seem to go viral for a hot take or a very like extremist viewpoint.
Yes.
Most of the times on the podcast, we're kind of like, well, we can kind of see both sides. Like, here's
Well,
the
just
pros.
like that.
Yeah,
I mean, like that's literally my hot take, is like there's things on both sides of this conversation.
I just feel I'm always like, I'm just a moderate girly. Like, I just don't live in the fringe or the extremes of life. So if something pops in my brain, I will bring us circle back around to the hot take seat.
That's
but
fine.
Like right now, I
That's
don't got anything.
Okay, now I've got questions, and y'all have to pick who this describes between you two.
Oh,
okay.
Oh, this will be fun.
Who is most likely to accidentally start internet drama?
Oh, probably me.
Yeah, probably you.
Probably me.
Are you on X?
No.
No? Yeah,
No,
see?
I used to be, and I
was.
deleted it.
You delete.
Yeah, I had like
I feel like
The
whoever
drama
starts the
didn't
drama is
bother
on
her.
X.
No, you always were like, I just like think it's.
I
like,
loved Twitter.
Yeah, she loved it. Natalie doesn't. Going to one of the points earlier, like I do not feel like you care. You do not like take things as like personally online.
It's hard to get me riled up.
Yeah.
Like, it really is.
So I would say no. Like if there was drama happening around Natalie, she would not be aware.
I wouldn't be aware. I've probably been in the eye of the storm so many times that I'm like, have no clue.
No clue.
Okay, so who is most likely to survive a ranch emergency?
Me.
No, Natalie. Listen, you saw me saddle a horse today, and you were really patient and really kind, but it was rough.
So for one of the first episodes we filmed for Discover Ag on the Road, we actually went out on sheep trail. We were back in Montana. It was super cool. So we obviously met up with some sheep farmers, ranchers. And in the start of summer, they have 10,000, their bands are about 10,000 total, and they trail them up from low ground up into high alpine so that the sheep can graze all summer long up there, and then they bring them back down, October, fallish. And so they call it sheep trail because they're trailing them up. And we got to tag along, and it was honestly one of the most surreal,
Coolest experiences.
Wow.
We told them they should make it like an agritourism thing because it was the coolest experience.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. They break the bands into about like 2,500 each, so which is still a lot of sheep together, 2,500. And it is essentially one Peruvian, and he had about 5 dogs. He'd have like 3 working dogs and 2 guardian dogs, but he was the one that was in charge, of moving the sheep, and they would just camp and move and camp and move, and it takes about like 10 days, and we only obviously followed along for like 2-3 days maybe total, but it was just so beautiful to watch this man guiding and working these sheep, and the way the dogs and just the team, and I don't know, it was just obviously a very beautiful part of Montana. And anyway, Tara thought we were gonna die, like we were gonna get attacked by a bear, like we were camping, and it was just this whole thing. And I was like, listen, I'm just gonna go to bed, it'll be fine, we'll wake up in the morning.
Okay, I'm gonna defend myself. If the ranching emergency involves a vehicle or backing up a trailer or pulling a trailer, I will survive and Natalie will not. So that's my only saving grace. When you said like who can do what, somebody said something or you were like, don't make me back up the trailer. I was like, me.
I said
can
we
do
could
that.
waste 3
Oh, yeah,
hours if we
yeah.
all want to sit around and watch me back up the trailer.
Yeah. So I have a few redeeming qualities, but no, Natalie's better in
I
a
like how you
ranch
flick the
emergency.
hair. Hearing that,
I have
like,
a few redeeming qualities. Yeah. There's not many, but I have a couple.
All right. Who's most likely to forget that they're recording?
Me. Don't
yeah.
you think?
Yeah.
For sure.
For sure.
Who's most likely to become a politician?
Tara.
Me.
Because you've spent time in D.C.
Yeah,
you
this is an ongoing conversation.
You have been in the drama. So, yeah, you've been in
I'm
the drama lately.
I'm the problem.
Am I the problem?
Am I the problem? I'm the drama. Yeah, I did. I got to start out the year actually going and being a part of the bill signing in President Trump's office, in the Oval Office, I guess that's what it's called, not President Trump's office, the Oval Office, and watch him sign the whole Milk for Healthy Kids Act.
That's cool.
So it was illegal, like it was against the law to serve whole milk in schools, and now
just
it
wild.
is. It was
I didn't know it was
wild.
against the law.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it
legally.
didn't meet. So milk is weird food. It gets like classified as a beverage, so it can't have too much like calories, sodium,
Wow.
well, all these things. But like it really should be classified as a food. Like comparing it to like no offense to Coca-Cola, listen, I'm a huge Diet Coke fan, but like comparing milk and Diet Coke is like not the
Yeah,
same
two
thing.
different things, yeah.
And so yeah, he signed that you can now have whole milk in schools, and
That's
I got to
cool.
be there.
So you're like the go-to dairy lady.
Absolutely.
Girly. You're the go-to dairy girly.
I don't know if that is the case, but we had just had Secretary Rollins on the podcast like the month or right before Christmas, and it was hilarious. I was actually out of the country when I got the call, and I thought it was a prank call. Like I literally called
would
my
have too.
husband. I was like, they're gonna ask for my credit card information next, and probably my passport. So I didn't even call them back.
And then she texts me and goes, "Did the White House call you?" And like, like looking at your phone, that's like the weirdest text receive. And guess what? I messaged her back. I was like, "No, I don't think so." I was like, "Can't totally be sure, but I don't think so."
Okay, but talking about you never know what kind of phone call you're gonna get when you're on social media. You can have the randomest
Back
things
to like
happen.
saying yes,
Yes,
like what
right.
it could bring into your future.
And
yeah.
so then I finally call back, and it's like dead serious, but the whole thing was just still so surreal. I mean, they were like, "So we think we'd like you." This is a Monday afternoon. They were like, we would like you here Wednesday morning, but we can't let you know until tomorrow at 1:00. We'll call you back." And I'm like, okay, but I ended up talking with Secretary Rollins' staff and was like, is this for real? And they were like, yes, but again, we can't tell you. So finally Tuesday at 1:00, they were like, yes, we'd love for you to come. We want your family to come. And so I flew home from my vacation, and my mom flew my kids. She was already babysitting my kids. Shout out to my mom, and met me in D.C. and we got to go to the White House. Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. My husband didn't actually think I was going to get invited. Like he thought it was going to fall through. So he left on the vacation and went on a boat and couldn't get off the boat in time to come back and join the flight. So he missed the opportunity.
No way.
Yeah, he said it's like the biggest regret of his
No
life.
way.
He was on St. Bart's and couldn't get home.
Oh my goodness.
What he did was also like a really cool like
Well,
once
yeah.
in a lifetime like vacation thing, and he just was like, I genuinely thought either you weren't gonna get it or it was only gonna like they had never mentioned my family. They had
Yeah.
just said me. So he just was like, oh, have fun, like this is amazing, like what a cool opportunity, go for it. And so I stayed back at the hotel and twiddled my thumbs and waited for a call and got a call. It was so crazy, so crazy.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, that's the end of the Ag Gear Hot Seat. You did great.
Thanks.
Yeah, shout out
that
Ag Gear.
ad gear kept us cool.
Shout out Ag Gear. Yep, Ag Gear will keep you cool. That's why I got it on all summer. Try it out. This is actually another one of my favorite segments of the podcast, and it's called the Bedrock Tough Question.
Guys,
Welcome
he's
to the.
DJ.
Whoa, just kidding.
He's DJing.
Welcome to the Bedrock Tough Question, brought to you by Bedrock Truck Beds. The toughest truck beds there are, and that's why we use them. Get one today and find out for yourself. And now back to the Bedrock Tough Question. Might help if I turn on the mics. Failing on my DJ things today.
Yeah. Natalie was just offering you a job.
I know.
You could put your cowboy hat on backwards, like a backwards cap. Really get into it.
Yes.
Then you
See,
could get
now
some
you're
comments.
thinking.
You could get some comments.
Get the people fired up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go viral.
a little rage bait.
Good.
So, Bedrock Tough Question. What is the toughest thing about doing Discover Ag?
Oh gosh, There's
Where do
a
we
all
start?
forms.
Yeah.
In all forms.
Probably, okay, so, I mean, there's a few things that I could say, and I will say probably putting it all together is, like, Natalie is a pharmacist by trade, and I got my degree in environmental science. And now to try, like, we are so fish out of water when it comes to, like, running a TV show. Like, we've probably asked the stupidest questions. We've done probably the stupidest things. Like, trying to be producer, director, and, like, the host of the show, and content creation. Like, just all the things in one. Like, so trying to figure out, like, who do you hire? Like, how do you find a camera crew when we first started? How do you pitch to sponsors for something like this? How do you logistically set up? Like, when we went to Florida, we filmed 4 episodes in 3.5 days. I mean, with you, we were just saying in the car, like, how this is so nice to just have one episode and be able to focus solely on this. Whereas Florida, it was like, okay, well, half this day we're talking about red snapper, half this day we're talking about stone crab, then we're going to a processing. Like, it was all just, it's just not what we, like, know. So it's been very much like building our ship out at sea and, like, learning as we go of, like, figuring out what it is. And I think that's been really challenging.
I would say for me, and this is actually just probably social media in general, but I think the biggest challenge for me has always been that opportunities do feel boundless or endless. And I think some people don't like restrictions to, like, bind them. But for me, it just feels like, gosh, we could do this and we could do that. And this seems so cool. And, like, it just, for me, it all seems possible. Mm-hmm. Again, back to that, like, gene I have that, like, well, well, let's just do that. That'll be great. We could do that. And so I think can get very overwhelmed, or I deal with the idea of, like, okay, how do we hone this in? Like, what are we focusing on? What are we wanting to do? Because for me, it's all exciting. I want to discover it all. I want to do, A, B, C, D, and E. Like, let's do it all. And I don't think that's, like, the best way, obviously, to run any business is, like, whether it's through burnout or, lack of direction or, like, whatever that is. I just think that's, like, a recipe for disaster. So I think for me, the challenge has always been, like, reining in the enthusiasm and excitement and, like, honing it in, I guess, to like our core mission of what we want to do all the time.
Yeah, well, whenever I started, I never thought I would be going to DC to influence political decisions on, like, actual law.
Yeah.
Yep.
And how I find that to be really neat. And, like, all 3 of us have gotten to do that, and you got to be there when a law was signed.
Yeah.
And how I think I wish more people knew the importance of the influence of the people who are making those laws or voting on those laws. I wish more people knew about that.
No, that's such a good point. This is, like, kind of a side note, but it makes me think of it. I've had the opportunity to go a couple times to the UN for FAO, so the Food and Agriculture Organization, and go and speak and, like, in quote-unquote influence there. I mean, it had nothing necessarily to do with social media, but, like, I went and spoke, and I got a lot of backlash that, like, people could not believe I was willing to work with the UN, that I was willing to go to FAO, like, tons of, like, lots and lots of DMs, lost followers on that. And to your point, I just think that, like, so many of the conversations I tried to have with people in DMs or in the comment section was like, it's important to go there, whether you agree with them or not. If you're getting a seat at the table, you need to go. You need to show up and have conversations. Even going to President Trump's office, I had a ton of backlash from that, obviously, for obvious reasons. But I was like, no matter what president invited me, this is about whole milk in schools. Like, it's important to go there and be a part of the, like, what is more, like, in my sector than this, to not, like, why would I miss that opportunity to show up and have these conversations?
Yeah, so true. Did you ever see social media taking you there?
No, most definitely not. I don't think I saw social media taking us to, my best friend and business partner being a cattle rancher in Nebraska.
We have 2 of the most supportive husbands, and I always joke my husband would not have been as supportive with me starting out if he knew what was all coming from social media down the road.
It was easy to say yes at the beginning, and then once the ball started rolling, they couldn't stop.
Because, again, not that he, like, doubted me or, like, but I just didn't think he thought the capacity, like, that it would, like, to going to DC or doing all these things, like, that just never crossed his mind that that's what it would lead to. And not, again, he's, like, extremely supportive, obviously, but, like, I'm always just joke that, like, when I first brought it up to him, he was like, sure. And if he had preluded into the future of, like, all the time, the energy and everything it took, he'd be like, okay, well, let's maybe, like, talk about this a little bit more, actually. Like, is this really what we want for our family? Because, yeah, I never would have guessed 99% of what I've done, I never would have guessed would be an opportunity or something I would be able to do.
Mm-hmm. What do you think agriculture needs more of right now?
Oh,
Rain.
Well, yes.
if we could make that happen, that would be great.
Wouldn't it?
Maybe this is a little bit of a hot take, actually circling back around to the Ag Gear hot seat.
Here we are.
I think that sometimes we are our own worst enemies in agriculture. And I think we are obviously built on a very strong foundation of, I don't know, you could use so many different adjectives to describe what we're built on. And we all know what it is, right? Family, legacy, faith, like all these different things that describes, our industry, respective industries, no matter how you're involved in it and how we feel about it. And I think anytime like stepping outside that box to do something different, whether it's a big brand doing, a collaboration that's maybe a little different, or, an industry spending their money in a different, like whatever that looks like, I feel like it is sometimes really, really hard for agriculture to like do something different, like to go out of the box, because we're just our own worst enemy and like wanting to stay true to our origins and our history and I don't think we should, right? Like we can't lose sight of like who we were and like what our foundation is, but like we also have to like step into the like we're here, like we have to arrive and just be a little more innovative. Like I would just love to see ag like shake things up a little bit and like how we market and talk about and just do, I don't know, all sorts of different things we do here. I just wish we were a little bit more like innovative, I guess, and different.
I think that's such a good point. I think, and maybe this isn't exclusive to influencers, but I do think when you start sharing on social media, you do, to something you said earlier, you instantly get bombarded with other people's like ideas and then you're like, wow, I didn't like see it like that. And so I do think you get exposed maybe, because I feel like I hear a lot of like quote unquote ag influencers say that like we are our own worst enemy. I even said like the number one people that I've had like hate from online a lot of times has been like my own dairy farming community, that you're not doing something right or doing something different. And I do think we get really scared to try something new. I was a part of the dairy marketing like checkoff board for a few years, and I remember one of the gentlemen in the room was like, well, I haven't seen a milk ad in 10 years. And I remember like looking at him and being like, I hope you haven't. You obviously drink, you are a dairy farmer who drinks milk. Well, you don't need to see it. And like to that point, it's like, I hope we're spending our money like doing different things and innovating in how we're marketing. And like maybe the idea is out of the box and it fails, but at least like we tried connecting in like a new way and a different way.
I want to see some campaigns in, I don't know, New York City.
Yeah, right. Like
Times Square.
I don't think we need to like promote beef and Throckmorton, nice. Texas.
She said that strongly.
Thank you.
No, you didn't.
There was no doubt.
The confidence there was on point.
Throckmorton.
I feel like I added a little flair on the end too. It was great. But I don't, I think probably majority of people in this town, eat beef. So do we need to dump a bunch of like beef checkoff dollars here? Probably not, And so it's just like talking about like just being out of the box and like and not doing things the way we've always done them.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think media has changed a lot in the past. Ag media has changed a lot in the past 5 years. Where do you see it 10 years from now?
Well, considering we tend to be a little behind the curveball, I feel like I'm like, maybe we should look at what some of the other industries are doing.
That now.
Yeah, we'll probably be there in 5 years. But I think that post-COVID, we have had such a change in conversation of how people have approached their food. I think COVID very much opened people's eyes to the food system. It was the first time, in our lifetimes, I would say that we saw no food on the shelf, and that makes you ask a lot of questions really quickly. And I think we were already, before COVID, headed in a direction of people caring where their food came from, but COVID just accelerated that. And so I hope that we seize the momentum, no matter how you feel about the Make America Healthy Again movement or anything, people are talking about food. People are talking about farmers. So, how do we keep this ball rolling in our favor?
And hopefully Discover Ag
helps.
The TV series is helping with that in 10 years.
Yeah.
Has your own channel.
Yeah. Definitely.
That would be so cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, instead of watching the nightly news, you turn on Discover Ag and find where your food comes from.
Get a look at this guy's mug on there.
Well, with the Discover Ag, one of the things I think that sets you apart to be able to do that is the way that you're able to blend what's going on with what everybody else knows, or the day-to-day headlines, which to me, I feel like to our industry may not be what we're interested in.
Yep.
And that y'all are combining those two, and they're getting out of, what's the word I'm looking for, getting out of the silo
Yeah.
that we just find ourselves talking to it like, you eat beef? Yeah, I eat beef. We love beef.
Yeah.
Well, get out of that. Talk to
Yeah. Talk to someone. Bust out of our ag bubble.
Yeah. Burst out of the ag bubble. Mm-hmm. And I think we've done that more in the past 5 years.
Yep.
Or maybe I'm just more exposed to it now.
No, I think we've done better in the last 5 years. I think there's probably more places we can still take it, but I do think things have improved and changed. Like we are working towards changes.
Yeah, well, I think to your point, I just think food is like trending right now. Like agriculture is trending, Western culture is trending. Like just people want to talk about it, so it makes it easier to reach all the people. Like if they're asking if you already have an audience that's like interested, like that's half of the job. So I think just the way society is right now with everything, whether it is Maha or Yellowstone or just different things within Western culture, I just like people are piqued and they're curious about like what we have going on, and that obviously really helps too.
Mm-hmm.
So this leads me to one of my favorite segments of the podcast. It's called the Fenolio Boot. We wear Fenolio boots. They're in Fort Worth Stockyards. You can go there. You can get 15% off when you tell them Tucker Brown sent you. Or use code Tucker Brown online and get 15% off. But what is one thing in agriculture, and I'll leave it pretty broad, that you would give the boot? What would you kick out?
Oh man,
gosh,
you
these
just
are really
you said we were
hard.
out of
Oh
the
my
hot
God.
seats, and then they just keep rolling. Gosh,
Give the boot.
what would I give the boot to?
Mm-hmm.
What would you give the boot to?
Oh, what is this? The Discover Ag podcast?
Didn't you say there was a segment that was like this? Why haven't we got to that section yet?
I would give the hating each other.
Yeah.
Like I get the most hate from ranchers.
Yeah.
Or like I don't know. I feel like Facebook is always where I get the most hate.
Facebook is
not on
wild.
there.
Yeah, Natalie's never been on Facebook.
No?
Wild. Yeah, Facebook's wild.
I mean, back in college when you had to have a college email address to have it for personal reasons, was the last time I logged into Facebook.
I say giving the boot to, I think to Natalie's point, we always have to give an ode to our legacy and, keep a piece of that of where we came from, but probably giving a boot to, that's the way we've always done it. I just think with media changing so rapidly, we have to do things differently. And then even on farm management side, today you and I were having a whole conversation about collars and things, and I just think, and we were even saying, just the collar technology has drastically improved in the last 3 years, and I feel like we're at a point where we can't even quite fathom what's going to come next. And so I would say we've got to be adapting with the times, while keeping our roots and I don't think we'll ever lose that. So just being able to move forward is important, I think, for our industry and to be able to keep it viable.
Yeah, totally agree.
I'm keeping it all. I don't know.
You're not booting anything.
I'll just keep the boot.
These boots are not for kicking.
Just keep the boot.
These boots are for walking.
They're for frolicking.
These
Frolicking.
boots are meant for frolicking.
Frolicking. Where will you frolic next to?
Oh, we have one more episode.
Yeah, in this season we have one more episode.
We are still in the midst of planning it, but I guess I'm sure we'll get it planned and figured out. But I think
figure it out.
I think
We're
we're going to discover bison. So
Bison.
Yes, I think it's
You
going to
heard
take
it here
us to
first.
Oklahoma.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but don't be
Breaking
brave-
news?
Breaking
we
news.
had not announced that
And now we
anywhere.
have to do it because we said
Well-
it on this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
But that is what we're trying to make happen for our final episode. We've done a lot of fish. We've been in California and in Florida. So we have done 3 seafood episodes so far.
Well, we've done oysters, limes, avocados, stone crab, red snapper, citrus, which we did
Whoa.
both.
We did
Oranges and
grapefruit and
grapefruit.
grapefruit.
Then we have beef, and then I think we're going to round it out with bison.
Yeah, we wanted to do a couple
How cool.
middle of the country
Yeah.
places.
Yeah.
How cool. And I always like to ask this in the middle rather than at the end. So this is not the end of the podcast. But where can people find you?
Oh. YouTube is where all of our Discover on the Road content lives. That is probably the new place that we've been hanging out the most.
Yeah, the channel name is literally Discover Ag on the Road. And so you can see all of our episodes up to that point that are long form, and then obviously all the short form content to support that. And then Instagram, I would say, is our next biggest platform, and we're on there for the podcast is Discover Ag Podcast. We're on there for the TV series, which is just Discover Ag TV, and then obviously we're also on there individually too.
Yep.
I saw the other day that y'all were on the top 40 rancher influencers.
Oh, I
2026.
didn't see that.
I didn't
That's
see
fun.
that either. That's cool. Thanks for
Made
telling
by
us.
FeedSpot.
Amazing.
Oh, nice. Thank you, Feed Spot, for
Number
shouting us out.
6.
Wow.
Oh my gosh,
This is so exciting.
Is
we
Natalie.
didn't know
Number
that.
6 is. They don't have you together. I'm sorry. They don't.
Good. I was like, why am I in the ranchy category? In my head, I was thinking that.
They don't-
Like, I am not. Well, congratulations, Natalie.
Thank you.
Natalie,
Thank you very
number-
much. I did not prepare a speech, but anyway.
I'd like to thank my co-host. Just kidding. My dairy farmer co-host.
That's so fun.
Of the other influencers that are sharing about agriculture, what are some of them that you like to follow?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. Actually, I feel like I've been like deep diving.
Tucker Brown.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry. Obviously top of the list.
Were you number one on that one?
No, I was number 7 actually.
Oh, okay.
Number
Well,
7.
nice. You're in good
Top
company,
10.
Natalie.
My
Yeah.
goodness. No, there is so many wonderful people are like, I feel like stepping up and sharing. It's really fun to see. I feel like I discover someone new all the time scrolling. Like there was just 2 young raspberry sisters that are sharing out in Washington. They're just getting started. And I was like, oh, their content's so fun and cool. I came across 2 sisters that are actually at oyster farms in Maine area that they're sharing. So I'm not going to, shout out names. I just feel like people are doing like a really good job of stepping up and sharing, original content to their industry, which I think is always really cool to see.
Like with the podcast, we obviously cover different news articles or like trending pieces. A lot of times we'll cover reels, and I swear every time, like we've covered a peach farmer recently, and I was like, obviously there's a peach farmer somewhere out there sharing, and so to stumble across his page, I was like, wow. When we both were like, he did such a good job of explaining that. Like it was really well done, and like you could see the comment section was very much filled with like people from the city. Like he was connecting with people outside of the industry, outside of that ag bubble, as we said, and it's just like so cool to stumble across those accounts.
And I remember y'all, like I've seen a couple of the reels that y'all have covered, and the bad ones always do so much more damage than the good ones help.
Yeah, it's so hard.
I feel like a while back we covered something about it was a cattle ranch. Something was happening with cattle, like a cattle died. I don't know.
Yeah,
and
that's what I was.
Yes,
that's what I was thinking.
and
of.
I remember
Oh, 'cause
you
we talked
coming.
about you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you came into the comment section. You did a really great job on
Fired
the
'em up.
reel, and we're
That's
like,
how you earned the 7th spot on that
Number
list. I think.
7.
Yes.
was because of that comment that you left on that page, and it was like, this is just doing damage. Like that was like my hot take on that thing was like, this was stupid. Why did you post this online with no context and not giving any people information, and then they leave with such a bad taste in their mouth about beef?
I thought you were going to say, "Here's my hot take. I hated your comment."
No, I
thought
loved
that's
your
where you were gonna
comment.
go.
I
was
don't even remember it.
No, your comment was like, why are you sharing this? Why not give some context? Like, this isn't what it looks like. It wasn't like that, whatever. It was a freak accident. I don't even remember what it was, but
Well, I don't mind showing the bad stuff.
I don't either, but give context to it.
The context is crucial. Very crucial. Because I don't have anything to hide.
No,
And if you do have something to hide, it's kind of sketchy.
very true.
It's kind of sketchy. Are there, I don't follow many in the dairy industry. I think I follow 2 other dairymen.
Yeah, I don't follow a ton of dairy people right now either, I feel like, but there's a few. I mean, Iowa Dairy Farmer,
He's
good. He's been going for years
His
now.
engagement's
and
incredible.
Yeah, he does really, really well. And he does what he does so well, where he just takes on like crazy comments very, very well. So though there is, I feel like sometimes when I consume content, I try to like go outside, like do other things.
Yeah.
Because I feel like obviously the content I consume in real life is very dairy heavy. So kind of busting out sometimes is kind of nice.
Well, this brings me to one of my favorite segments of the podcast. Where you get to become the host.
Oh, finally.
So the
That's what.
Discover Ag hosts
Okay.
on the podcast. You're in.
Oh, gosh. Well, now I didn't prepare.
Oh, I'm nervous. I've never been behind a mic before.
I don't know. Is this thing on? Check 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so we get to ask you questions.
Yes.
Now. Where is the craziest thing that you've gotten to do that social media has taken you to?
Breakfast in the White House was one of them.
Yeah.
Way up there.
Tucker likes breakfast. This morning, all he talked about was the donuts and
The
the
breakfast
breakfast
burritos
burritos.
he
That's
got.
right.
Big
Sensing
breakfast
a theme
guy.
here. Big breakfast guy.
Big breakfast guy.
So breakfast in the White House with Secretary Rollins was,
Yes. Yeah, that was I'm not a man of politics.
Mm-hmm.
Like I do keep up and I know like what laws are going on, but I don't know who holds all the positions
Mm-hmm.
or what Kentucky is trying to push right now. Like I don't know. I hate that they're working on the road. right
I
now,
know.
right outside
as we're
this.
trying to have a serious conversation. Could you guys pause, please? We're recording a podcast.
Do they not know who you all are?
I was going to say, didn't you tell the lady at Allsup's across the street? Like, can you
podcast
please?
going on today.
Yeah. Where was I going? Oh, so I don't know all of those things. So I was in these rooms, and they're like, "Don't worry," or like, "Don't freak out." But this person's coming in. I was like, "Well, don't worry. I don't know who that. I don't know
You're
who
great.
that is
Not
anyway."
worried.
I'm not worried at all. And I was like very humbled because I thought I was coming into this being like, "Wow, my stuff has worked to get me here." And then I got there, and I was like, "Oh, I know nothing. Whoa."
Yeah. I had a similar experience like that when I was, again, the UN. You're supposed to, like, address ambassadors certain ways. Like, there's a lot of, like, protocol and, like, how you raise your hand, like, how you talk. I mean, so many things. How you address, like, the room, you know, like, Madam Secretary, you know, whatever. It's, like, a ton of things. And I didn't know. First of all, I didn't know who the ambassadors were. And so I just kept, like, being like, which of those 4 people do I need to address as ambassador? And like it is a little intimidating. It's impossible to know everything, and it is very, very intimidating stepping into those rooms.
Okay, so speaking of breakfast with Tucker,
Yes.
I'm curious if you could sit down and talk about agriculture, whether it would be to, you know, like have a conversation with maybe someone who needs to hear certain things, or if it's like selfishly, like you're like, I would love to sit down with so-and-so, like for myself, so I could ask questions or whatever. Like, who are 3 people you would sit down at a table to talk about agriculture with?
I was going to ask for 2.
Oh, okay, you can do 2.
But Steve Irwin would be one of them if he were still alive.
Oh wow!
Like
the
the
guy that
Crocodile
died
Hunter?
with
like the dad of the guy that was on the Dancing with the Stars.
the man with the stingray through his heart. Yeah, that guy.
I know who he was, but I wanted to put it in the way of
The
like
dad of the
only-
underwear model?
Yeah,
Bless him.
exactly. I just wanted to phrase it that way. Like when people are like, "Oh, so and so's like," you know, like they make a fight. Like with Taylor Swift and what's his name, Travis Kelce. I always feel
Kelce.
they're like, "Oh, you mean
Travis Kelce's husband?
Yeah,
or
their
boyfriend?
wife.
Or-
Yeah, like oh, they always flip flop it like that. Okay, so Irwin.
Why?
Steve Irwin. I'm very, I will steal people's, like, feelings. And so if somebody's super embarrassed, I also get.
Like secondhand
Is
embarrassment.
that an empath? Is that what that is? Like when you feel the feelings of other people very
I-
strongly? I think that's what that is.
And, but whenever people are super passionate, it also just makes me all of a sudden. And Steve Irwin was nothing but,
Passion.
crikey, look at this beautiful snake.
Yeah.
It's one of the most beautiful snakes in North America. They're actually all very beautiful. And then he would, like, whatever he did, he just poured into. And so I would love that. Like, I
Yeah.
would just want to steal all of that
Oh,
that he
that's
talked
so
about.
interesting.
Yeah, an empath is a highly sensitive person who doesn't just understand other people's emotions, but actually absorbs and physically feels them as if they were their own.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I did
an
not
empath.
feel the labor of my 3 kids. But
Your wife is like, "Hey, it feels not correct."
my wife, yeah, she may disagree. But yeah, I very much steal that from people, whoever I'm with. And then 2 would be Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, funny.
Oh, he's a good one.
Um,
What would you? Why him? More energy stealing.
yeah, I do love his.
He's like a Dementor over here from Harry Potter, like soul sucking
I'm gonna
out.
steal it.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I don't think he may like think differently or vote differently than me, but he seems to be quite logical
Yeah.
in the decisions he makes. And
Did you read his book, Green Light?
no, but I want to.
Oh, you should.
You listen to the audiobook
Yeah,
because
it's
he
really
reads
great.
the
Okay,
audiobook.
that'd be even better.
It's really, really good. It's a
He
quick read. He reads it to you.
He imparted a lot of pearls of wisdom in
Yeah.
there that I feel like still stick with me today of
Same.
really good advice. And just like I could see when you said that, I was like, oh, he would be a really interesting person to sit down just from like whether it was a personal standpoint or professional or business, like whatever it was. I feel like he is, like he does have his head screwed on tight, and he's so fascinating and interesting. That would be one hell of a breakfast.
Yes,
Yeah.
it would. And then I do love the way he talks.
Yeah.
He's always just talking
Oh,
like this.
You are so good at this.
good.
All right, I'm
Wait,
fired. You're hired.
Can you do Trump too?
I'm not saying I'm great. Okay. Actually, Discover Ag.
Is the best.
Discover Ag's the best. I don't say it.
It's
Others
huge.
do.
It's huge. The feed spot. Natalie's number 6.
That is impressive.
That is impressive.
My Trump isn't the best one. I had a horse named Trump that I sold this year in our horse sale, and they had me do a Trump impersonation.
Oh, funny.
Like as we were selling him, and it kind of slowed down. They had me grab the mic, and I was like, Wherever Trump goes, we'll make your ranch great again. I don't say it, others do. It was really fun. Yeah, that's not my. I do love the Matthew McConaughey though, because it's always
Yeah.
something about like you can say anything about space and it sounds like Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
There's a box inside of space.
You are really good at the Matthew McConaughey one.
If I look this way, I actually think Matthew McConaughey is sitting next to me.
My number 3 one though, I don't know.
Those were 2 really good 2 ones. I feel good about those.
I don't know. Maybe it's
Throw Micro in there. If you don't know, just throw Micro in there.
Jim Nantz actually might be one. He's the announcer that does like all the horse races and all of the, not all of them, but Super Bowls and college football games, and like one of the best storytellers that I know. He would be
A good one.
He's one of the best like broadcasters
yeah.
that I know of. I think he would be really interesting. His ability to tell a story, like with the Kentucky Derby, he tells 3 hours before the race, he's telling stories on every single horse and does a phenomenal job of it.
Yeah.
He would be one. That's my nerd out one. That's like the radio stuff that I love.
That is quite the collection. If all 4 of you are at breakfast together, that would be really interesting.
I would love that. That would be really cool. I thought of one other place that I thought was really cool from social media.
Oh, okay.
Got to go to the Pendleton Roundup,
Oh, yeah.
and I'd never been
Yeah.
to that. And my cousin ended up roping the same day that I was there, so I got to
fun.
watch him
Oh,
rope.
that's really
and
cool.
That was whenever I started to figure out that social was more than just the money, but the experience and the people I got to meet. So now I actually work with like 2 of the people that I met there.
Yeah.
Wow.
I really thought you were going to say when you got to go to the NFR and see our billboard go by, but that's okay. It's all right.
Well, that's when I found out how far behind I was.
I thought that was going to be top 1 that one time I got to see your billboard drive by.
That's fun.
Oh,
That was
man.
so cool, though. I was just like, I know those ladies. And it's in Vegas, and they have all their clothes on.
Yeah,
True
because not
story.
all those buses
True
driving
story.
by. Some of those are, whew.
It was actually stopping because it was jarring to see 2 clothed women on the
Oh,
side.
yeah, uh-huh. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
too crazy.
Crazy.
Well, what is advice you would have for other people in the, what's the right word? I don't like to use the word ag influencer, but the ag media industry. Maybe it's ag social media. I don't know. Wherever you want to take that. Advice to someone who wants to start or is trying to start.
Oh, man. I always say if you're younger than us, like, don't listen to us because I feel like they have their finger on the pulse so much better.
So you can use Paint on your Microsoft computer.
So my tip is actually paint.
Right? Like, don't listen to me. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I think that when you're just starting out, my advice would be to say yes to everything. Natalie and I have been in more of a no phase as we're like trimming things from our lives to make room for other things, and so I feel like we're very much more in like no thank you, we've done that, we've tried that, we're like focusing on Discover Ag on the road right now. But for people that are just starting out, I would say yes to as many things as you can, because I don't always think like I don't know that I would have known I liked public speaking, and I absolutely fell in love with it. And so I just think you have to like try some different things. I realize like social media, like content creation, is not as much my jam. I'd much rather get up and give a speech any day of the week. And so I just, like, you just don't know till you try, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess this is like maybe just for like general advice for anyone in agriculture or just business in general. But like I am a really big believer in just like take the risk.
You can do that. It's easy.
Yeah. No, I think if you want big rewards, you have to be willing to take big risks. I just really believe that like some of the things you want in life, you can't stay in your comfort zone essentially to receive them or experience them. So I'm a very big believer in risk taking, obviously strategic risk and like well thought out risk. But I think so many of us are like adverse to the word risk. Like it just carries a negative connotation. It sounds scary. And I really believe like if you can harness it properly, like risk is like, it's like where the success, like really big success is. Like you have to be willing to go where other people aren't going. So maybe you can apply that to social media, but maybe you could apply that to, some other facet of your life as well.
And I didn't mean to end the Discover Ag podcast host questions.
That's okay. We ran out of.
If that
I
was,
know,
okay,
I was
good.
I was ready.
Okay, good. Yeah,
Apparently,
just kinda cut that
I've
off.
actually really enjoyed being the one interviewed. So no, let's move away from hosting. It's been kind of a nice change of pace.
Well, what is favorite Bible verse or life advice
Oh, I just
in
gave
general?
my life
I know,
advice.
but that was ag
Yeah.
life advice. I mean, maybe that is your life advice too.
Yeah.
I have Ecclesiastes 3:1-8, which is just, the famous one that everyone knows. That is about there's a season for everything. And the reason that I love it so much is because, first of all, I feel like seasons just makes a lot of sense when you're in agriculture. Like, it's just something I think we connect to, that there's different seasons and there's different times. But I also think, like, as a mom and a wife and a, like, businesswoman, I believe in the saying, like, you can have everything, you just can't have it at the same time. And I've always thought about that Bible verse. Like, you can have everything, it's just going to be in different seasons for you. And so there was, like, a time where my kids were littler and I would have to say no to things. There's, times now where I'm able to say yes to things and say no to other things. Like, I just believe there truly is a season for everything. And so, like standing by that Bible verse, I think is important. That sometimes there's times I've had to say no and felt like really like, oh my gosh, am I missing out on something? Or did I say no to the wrong opportunity? And it's like, no, it's just not the right season. Something will come back around, or if it doesn't, it wasn't meant to be. And so just like leaning into that.
That was my senior, book quote in senior. What did
Oh,
they
in
call
the
it?
yearbook?
There.
Your yearbook
Trying to get
quote?
out. Yeah, it was like what? It's like I think it's.
Does Montana have different books than the rest of the country?
I think it's a. Isn't it a Patti Loveless song? What is meant? She's gonna marry. That,
I don't know.
The boy.
Keep going. Let's
Nope.
hear it.
Anyway, the quote was like, "What's meant to be will always. What's meant to be will find you," or like whatever it is. But it's actually a lyric from. I think it's a Patti Loveless song.
Don't know it.
Anyway.
Never heard of her.
Yeah.
Never heard of her.
My life advice. What? I just had it and I was thinking about it. Oh, no, actually, when you were talking, I'm just being the host again. I'm just doing my own thing over here, okay? Because when you were talking, it made me think about a quote I actually have. I like to make vision boards or, I don't know, creative things like that. I make my husband make like a 2020, like every year we have to sit down and like go through our goals and like what we want to spend, whether it's like how we want to spend our time as a family or like what we're doing on the ranch. Like I really love to do big picture kind of thinking, things like that. And this year I put one of my favorite quotes up on the vision board, and it was, "Those who are seen to be dancing in the rain were thought to be crazy by those who could not hear the music." And I just love the idea of like, again, like harnessing kind of your own, I don't know, just like staying true to yourself, authenticity, like not worrying about what other people are thinking. Like, I just think that's like, and those who were seen dancing in the rain were thought to be crazy by those who could not hear the music is just like really
Beautiful.
powerful. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Period.
Period. End.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
So just don't be afraid. Like especially in today's like society with social media. I don't know if you probably saw, everyone saw Eric Church's graduation speech going viral.
Yes.
That he gave at North Carolina. Obviously if you listen to all of it, I think there's like so much wisdom in there, but like speaking to today's youth, I think like what someone who was giving a graduation speech 10, 15, 20 years ago would be so much different of what you would tell someone in today's society. And he even like part of his speech of like the guitar strings of what you need to focus on in life to have a successful life. One of them was like, in today's world and social media, like you are going to think someone else is living a better life. You are going to think that like you're going to be told all these different things. You're going to see all these different things. And like, it's really, really important. Like his mic drop line in it, one of them was like, the world does not need another cover song. It needs a new original song. And I just think that like goes to just like being yourself and not worrying about like what other people are saying, especially in today's society with like youth and social media.
I like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I get to be my goofy self on social
Yeah.
media. And
Yeah.
I
And look
love
where it got you.
I love it. Like I literally do.
Breakfast at the White House.
Breakfast with us.
Big breakfast.
Breakfast with donuts on the ranch.
Lucky you.
And I didn't even get donuts. I could have, but I said no. Could have. So I had a burrito instead. Big breakfast guy. Any other Discover Ag things need to be said? What do they need to hear? Anything else?
I
No,
think so. We'd love for you to discover
that's
with
what I was
us.
going to say.
Yeah.
I feel like this is still so new for us. We started at the beginning of the year, so it is, like in our world of sharing, it is still very, very new. So we would love for you guys to come listen and let us know what you think.
When will this come out?
Your episode will come out in July.
Yeah, you drop in July.
Sweet.
Yeah, so soon. We try to roll out content quickly.
I love that. Well, I've had a blast. I didn't really know what to expect, but I did have fun. Like watching you clean out hooves and you saddle and
Yeah, Duggar goes to work.
No,
W-O-R-K.
yeah,
I was like, man, if I did this every day, my arms, I would be like so strong. My back would be bad, but my arms would be strong.
Thanks for saying yes to like letting us come out
Yeah.
here. I always feel like that's such a there's like that moment of like, are they gonna say no? Like, but you said yes, and you were willing to let us come out to Throckmorton.
Come on.
Got it,
Sure.
Texas.
We'll say that.
I say Throck, you say Morton.
Well, thanks so much for being on the podcast, saying yes to the podcast. So,
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, it's great having getting to spend time with other people who are passionate about sharing the industries that we love. So, it's been a pleasure to have you on, and we'll get this out Wednesday, next Wednesday.
Okay, you're a little faster at content than us, but yeah, thanks for having us on.
I was like, yeah, we love to turn it around.
Turn around. He's like, tomorrow.
Oh gosh, thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
One of the verses I want to share, Psalms 37:4, is delight yourself in the Lord, and it will give you the desires of your heart. So if you're wondering what your heart is desiring, delight yourself in the Lord. Whoa, that was loud, and he'll share it with you. Thanks for listening to the Registered Ranching Podcast. Go check out Discover Ag on pretty much every platform. YouTube, well, not X or not Facebook for you, but yeah, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify,
Frolic on YouTube and Instagram.
frolic there. Well, thanks, guys. It's been fun. You've been listening to the Registered Ranching Podcast. Until next time, don't forget, y'all stay classy and ranch on them. Oh, I got to show you the offer. Get a cat if you want a cat.
Oh, yeah.
I love a cat.